tried making my first vlog over and over and over, and I have a lot to say apparently because the files are quite long, but they're very rambly and very all over the place, and I've even got notes. Okay, I'm gonna try this again. I didn't know what to make for my first vlog, and I don't feel comfortable showing my face, partly because, as you can hear, I sound terrible. It's because I've got strep still, and I had strep in December of 2019, probably before that even, and then in January 2020, February, it's February 22nd now when I'm doing this. Yeah. Oops. I guess suck. I didn't know what to make my first vlog about until last month. A video showed up on my Twitter wall. What do you call it? Whatever. You know, of someone I follow. And I just felt this really strong need to watch it, and I didn't know why, and that worried me. But eventually I watched it, and I'm glad I did. I'm gonna link it below, because this sounds super dramatic, like a infomercial, but it changed my life. But no, seriously, it changed my life. About 20 or so years ago, I started therapy, first for anxiety. And at the end of that first visit, it was a counselor who was kind of like the filter for the insurance. She would see people and then either say, nah, they don't need treatment, or send them to the specialist or appropriate doctor of whatever they needed. And I didn't know she had diagnosed me until later. And when I say it wasn't actually me. I don't know. It's really hard to explain this and talk about this, because, man, I don't even understand my own days, okay? So just kind of try to stick with me here. Let's see if we can get through this, okay? Here we go. I was put through a lot of trauma pretty much my whole life. I'm not gonna go into detail. This is about something else. It's related, but it's something else. It's something happy. But back in my early 20s, I got diagnosed with, at that time, it was multiple personality disorder. And then at some point during my therapy, my records changed to Dissociative Identity Disorder or something like that. I mean, I know it was DID, but it might have had the O in it. And when I got diagnosed, I went home and I called the woman I grew up with, and I was so happy to have an answer of why I was so weird. And I mean, I'm weird, and I'm a good fun weird, you know? I've always been a good fun weird. I was the weird kid in school, but I was a good fun weird. I didn't even talk in school, really, because I had nothing to say. But I called the woman and I said, I know what's wrong with me. I know what's been wrong with me my whole life. I'm not crazy or insane like you thought. I have MPD. And without even a pause, she cackled and goes, "We know?" And then I could tell in that split second, I could feel her cringe. All that distance away. She wasn't supposed to tell me. And she accidentally let it slip. Well, since she'd already said that, she just kept on going. Because I asked her, I go, "What do you mean you know?" And she said, and then she just thought it was absolutely hilarious that now she knew I had no memory. Which meant, I suppose in her eyes, they were free and clear. I had no memory. And I didn't. It wasn't me that made the call. I was the camera for the call, I think, or it's possible someone gave me the memory clip of the camera. Watch, like picture playing Skyrim or Dragon Age, where you can either look through the character's eyes, straight on, first person, or you can bring the camera back up and to the side in Pokemon, or whatever, I don't know. That's what, when I say being the camera, that's what I mean. That spot up, behind and off to the right, watching at an angle downward at the shell, watching the actions, watching whatever happens, the conversations, whatever. That's what I mean when I say the camera. I don't think I was the camera, the more I think about it. While I'm making these failed attempts at videos, I've got backseat video maker helpers helping me out, and they're like, "I don't think you were the camera. I think that's a memory fragment given to you." So, okay, either way, point is, I made a phone call. And I called because I thought if I called and if I told her, then she would know I wasn't crazy, I wasn't insane, like she thought. And I would have a mama finally. That's not what happened. And I went over all the possible scenarios I could think. That was not one of them. It never occurred to me that she would say in such a snotty, uppity, know-it-all voice and tone, "We know," as if I'm so stupid to not know that they know. Partly, I regret that that phone call was ever made, and yet, at the same time, being able to remember that phone call and knowing that she flat out admitted that they knew, that they admitted to making most of the ones inside for their own purposes, to use whenever they wanted. As to what purposes or what use, she would not say, so I don't know. And those statements did not make any sense to me at all. And I had gone my whole life wondering, what in the world does that even mean? You made most of them. Well, in therapy, we found over 100. Who needs that many? Like, why were you making so many? It's now over 1,000. I can't get a formal internal census because it's hard to connect to each section. I can make a video about the inner world if you guys want. Because it'd make a whole lot more sense if I did. But basically, it's a census is in progress, but in the last 4 years, we've had a lot of found insiders. I don't know if they were lost or if they were in a different I forgot the word I was going to use. Basically, they were not linked to basically the main area, which meant they had no idea that their lives inside were not they didn't know they were insiders. And I know there's more that's not been found. But in 2018, that's when I learned through some research after seeing a different Twitter post that led me to go, what's that? And I looked it up and I found out. And then I remembered a few things, or well, I didn't. Some of them inside did, and they relayed the info to me. And it made that bizarre set of comments the woman made to me on the phone that day make perfect sense. And then I went over to the computer and I got on to IRC because I knew 3 ladies and they were waiting to hang out because they knew I was at therapy, and they were up in there after therapy sessions to tell me jokes in case I was upset or whatever. And this time I had news for them. So I told them, because as the doctor told me, it was a good thing that my mind had done this, that my mind had fractured into all these pieces. Well, I don't know what words he actually used, but fractured is a word that we use because it's what happened. My brain did all that so that a section of my brain could continue living a regular life, as regular as possible. I didn't know what was going on at home. Like, there was a complete mental block. I didn't understand day to day anything at home. It wasn't even really home. It was just a house I lived in with 2 adults and of chat that I told. We were all in the same chat room, so they all heard it at the exact same time. Or, well, I typed it. I didn't actually verbal say it. It was IRC. First lady. Totally okay with it. She had questions, but she saved them for later. Well, the second lady back then, she was also okay with it. But never once did she treat me differently or rudely. But then the third lady was apparently typing the whole time. And then she had entered. And she kept going and going and going and going and going. And the things she typed were so violent and so vile. And one of the other two said, well then, if she's a monster in your eyes, what about the people who harmed her? She said, well, how do we know that they even harmed her? They might be totally innocent. But I don't think she doubted that I was multiple. I mean, I had professional diagnosis, so to her that was good enough. But in my view, she was siding with those who had harmed me and called me a monster and a freak and a bunch of other things. And I didn't think that this was the thing that needed to be kept secret. So from that point, after I told that group of 3, I kept it secret. For the most part. I would use it as a test to see, would people freak out? But the anxiety kept growing and growing and growing. And in January, at the start of January, I saw my doctor again. Monthly visit, get seen, by law, refill, repeat. The anxiety was too much, and I told him, it's too much. I don't know what to do. He had no answers for me. He didn't know what to do. I had no idea why he was so anxious and so afraid and so everything. But I always had this constant worry. Was I faking it? Was I crazy? Was I insane? And every time that would come up, I remember, no, that phone call, she admitted it. That's all the proof I need. And yet it wasn't enough. You would think that would be enough. But it wasn't. And my very best friend would say, think of a question and think of the answer that you think they're going to say. But make it something not obvious. Like, don't ask them, like, what color hair they have or what color shirt are they wearing. Because, I can clearly see that they already know what color shirt they've got on. And they could look down and look at their shirt. And so I would. Most of the times, the answers were not at all what I expected. And yet, I could convince myself, what if I'm crazy and I made this dialogue up to trick myself? And this worry was consuming me. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere because was I sane? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. I figured I must be at least mostly sane. But I quit visiting boards for multiples, mostly because a lot of them have this, there's only one right way to be multiple. Well, I I don't fit that, so okay, bye. And I didn't watch videos by multiples on YouTube. Well, partly because I didn't really know they were there, and plus, I wasn't sure if I was faking. And so, if I don't know if I'm faking, and I start watching videos by those who are multiple, not knowing, am I actually multiple like all the doctors said? And all of them apparently from childhood, hundreds of diagnoses. Same night of being multiple, apparently. I don't know if she was exaggerating or not about hundreds. Because, I mean, we're talking from whenever they got me to 2021. Maybe even after that, after I moved out, they were still harassing me. And I felt like I was intruding. Like I didn't belong. And if I was faking, what if I watched some of their videos? And somehow my brain, being all crazy and whatever, picked up on something that they do as a multiple. And then I'm still faking it. And then I'm faking that too. Rather than it being, I'm not faking and I'm actually a multiple. And it just so happens they do the same thing. And then that video. And since then, I mean, I've been sick, but my anxiety, no, it's not great. But I'd say it's probably cut in half. Because if I was faking it, I wouldn't have to sit around my whole life wondering, am I faking it? I don't know. No, because if I was faking it, oh yeah, I would know. Like this star on my head. I know full well it's a crown, but there's no star in the prop section. So I'm pretending it's a star because I'm a cat mystery, professional cat mystery. I don't know if I've covered everything I meant to cover. And we'll see how this goes. So below will be the link to the video that changed my life. Thank you very much that you posted this video. I don't know how to express how important this video is and the fact that I got to see it. I still have slate. Am I faking it? But then I'm thinking, I would know if I was faking it. And that anxiety is gone. But basically, okay, I'm gonna end this. I'll put the link to the amazing video below. You're welcome to ask questions. Just please be respectful. Don't ask specific, like, pinpoint details about my trauma. if there's other videos you want me to make, it doesn't have to be about mental health or my physical health. I've got some gaming videos to record and put up. Unfortunately, I do not have the thing that lets you stream from like a Switch or a 3DS right now, which is where I'm playing most of my games. But I am playing some on PC, so those I can record. If you want to know about what the inner world looks like, I do not mind talking about that. See, to me, this is normal for me, so I don't know what questions someone who is an outsider, which is basically you all, because you're not inside, so you're outsiders. That's not meant as an insult, that's just simply fact. You're outside, not inside. So I don't know what outsiders would consider interesting to know or ask about stuff about being multiple. I don't know, because this is just my life. Subscribe and hit thumbs up, and then go listen to some meowsical Christmas music. It's beautiful. And if you've made it this far, I thank you very, very much for listening to what is, I'm going to expect when I go to edit, that it's going to be extremely all over the place, and I'm very sorry for that. So thank you very much, and I hope you'll come back for my next one. Whatever the topic might be, I don't know.